Hey everybody, it's Stacy here from Pitch Deck Fire, and I'm so happy you've joined us to fine-tune and perfect your pitch. If you haven't been with us before, this is Pitch Hacks. We do weekly pitch hacks, and in it we talk about tips and tricks on pitching, pitch decks, sales decks, investor decks, and live presentations. So if you're a startup founder looking for investment, if you're an established company looking for new customers, maybe you're even in an accelerator or an incubator program, all of you can find value in what we talk about here at Pitch Hacks. So let's hop right into it. What's this week's pitch hack of the week? All right, this week we have getting over nerves. So when you think about public speaking, do you get sweaty palms, butterflies in your stomach, the jitters? You get really, really nervous. So you're not alone. 2/3 of Americans or more have stage fright, and one of their biggest fears is public speaking. It's a very difficult thing to do, and it always makes us nervous. Unless you're an actor, and even then I think it still makes you nervous, you just figured out how to get through it. If you're like most Americans though, it's very, very challenging to figure out how to get over those nerves. So when you're putting together a pitch or a pitch deck for your company, then it's really, really easy to get those nerves, right? You're gonna be up in front of an investor or a large audience or a potential customer, and you really wanna impress them and be successful in that pitch. And so it's very easy to get into that like nervous, jittery feeling. There's a couple different ways I want to talk about how to make that nervous, jittery feeling go away and how to combat those nerves when you're actually in a situation presenting. So how do we get rid of those jittery nerves before we present in front of, an audience or potential investors? Well, what we're going to do is a couple different things. So number one, I really want you guys to think about the fact that you're there for your audience and they're there for you. They're not there to see you mess up. They don't want you to mess up. They're actually rooting you on. If you've ever been in an audience and you see somebody kind of stammering or having trouble, you know that inside of you just want them to do good and to remember what they had to say. And what you're really there for as an audience member is to learn something or get some value out of that interaction. And if you're presenting, you need to really think about that. The fact that it's not about you. It's not about what you say or whether you said it right or whether you said it the way you practiced or whether you remembered what you were supposed to say. It is about actually conveying that information successfully to your audience. And your audience is there to hear what you have to say. So really think about that as you're presenting, that you're there for them, to give information to them, and don't worry so much about yourself. And really think about your audience and what they're gonna get out of you talking and sharing this information with them. Even investors, they're there to find a good deal, and you have that good deal. So really feel confident and share that information with them. You're there to share that valuable information for them, and they're there to hear that. So hopefully that gets you a little bit more calm with your nerves. Another thing I'd like you to think about when it comes to getting rid of your nerves is some things you can do to prepare for a presentation to help have less nerves when you get up there. I really, 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 really urge you to practice, practice, practice. You will see me say this a lot in pitch hacks, but I really want you to remember it. Practice, practice, practice. It's one of the most important things you can do when you're preparing to pitch, and it really helps with your nerves. When you practice, what happens is you put yourself in the position of having those nerves. You put yourself up there. When you practice, try to do that. Really give yourself the nerves, by the way. So stand in front of strangers, pitch to a video camera, something like that. Really give yourself the nerves. Make sure you're standing. Do it as much like the real life as you possibly can. Really give yourself the nerves ahead of time. And then once you have those nerves, practice through it, pitch through it, figure out how to breathe through the nerves and get rid of them. The more you practice, the better you're gonna be on the day of. In addition, you're more likely to remember what you had to say. If you actually practiced ahead of time, then you're not gonna trip up or forget what you were gonna say, and that'll make you less nervous day of because everything will flow and you'll be having a conversation with your audience rather than trying to remember that one word you thought you were gonna say or you meant to say, right? So just kind of talk to your audience, and if you practice, it'll be more like that conversation. So really, really try to practice as much as you can. A third way to kind of get rid of the nerves is actually from a study by a woman named Amy Cuddy. And you might have seen a TED Talk about this some number of years ago. What they found was that the following was true. So number one, they found that when you stand in a certain position, like a closed off position, what it's showing the outside world is how you feel inside. So if you're feeling sad, you tend to sit closed and tight and that sort of thing. But what they found was the opposite was true as well. So how you stand and how you position your body tells your body how to feel too. So not only is how you standing telling the outside world how do you feel, but the opposite is true. The way you stand tells your body how to feel. And what that means and how that plays out in preparing to pitch and trying to be more confident and calm when you pitch is you can do something called the Superman or Superwoman pose. So what they found was that if you stood in this Superman or Superwoman pose for about 30 seconds before any time you needed to be more confident or comfortable or assertive, that you would feel more confident inside as well. So Superman, Superwoman pose is to stand with your chest out, hands on hips, right? Big smile, make sure your legs are, about equidistant to your hips, don't cross them or anything like that. And you stand like that, big old smile for about 30 seconds before any time you're gonna present. And to be perfectly honest, I do this every time I present, no matter how big or small the audience that I present. At some point in time, I spend about 30 seconds doing Superman or Superwoman pose, and it really, really helps. Now, I wouldn't actually do it in front of an audience, right? You're not gonna walk up on stage and do it. That's gonna be a little awkward. But do it sometime before you actually go up and present. So like in the bathroom or the hallway, or do it in the parking lot before you walk in, something like that. But try it. It's really worthwhile to really stand in that pose and just feel that confidence. It really will give you the confidence and help to kind of shake some of those nerves. So hopefully that answers your question for how do I get rid of my nerves? Thank you so much for joining this week's Pitch Hack. If you have any ideas on how to get rid of nerves or that you've found useful for getting rid of the nervous feeling before you pitch, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, give us a little thumbs up, subscribe. We have new pitch hacks every single week. And if you have any ideas for upcoming pitch hacks or any questions you want me to answer, I would love to answer them. There's a link down in the description to submit new ideas for pitch hacks. Thanks for joining us this week. Again, I'm Stacy with Pitch Deck Fire, and I'm so happy you've joined us. Hopefully I'll see you again next week. Happy pitching!